The alarms began without warning. A sharp red light filled the long metal hallway, flashing again and again, while a robotic voice repeated the same message in a cold tone. Containment breach, level 6, all units respond. No one inside the training facility understood how it happened. They only understood one thing: something powerful had escaped. Commander Rylan was the first to react. He rushed out of his office, his boots hitting the floor fast, his eyes scanning every screen he passed. He was not a man who feared many things, but the moment he saw the footage from the level 6 cameras, a cold chill moved through his body. The creature was gone. The cell was broken from the inside. Steel bars bent like soft plastic. The walls cracked. The beast was free. At the same time, in the academy wing of the base, students were gathering for their last class of the day. The building looked peaceful from the outside, but inside everyone felt something strange. The air had become heavy, as if the walls themselves were watching. In one classroom, a young boy named Aaron sat at his desk, tapping his pencil nervously. He did not know why he felt worried, but his instincts were never wrong. Humans had instincts older than stars, instincts that woke up when danger came close. Across the room, sitting in a desk far too small for him, was a tall reptilian alien named Cordath. He was part of a new peace program between the species. His skin was dark armored, and his eyes glowed softly in the room's yellow light. Students whispered about him, some afraid, some curious, but Aaron was the only one who could sit beside him without fear. Aaron believed every being deserved a chance. That calm moment shattered when the base shook. A loud impact hit somewhere deep below, and dust fell from the ceiling. Students jumped from their seats. Some screamed, others froze. Cordath's eyes widened and his nostrils flared. He smelled something he hoped he would never smell again: war. Before the instructor could calm them, the alarm lights turned on, painting the classroom red. The robotic voice echoed through the speakers. Emergency lockdown, report to safe zones. But the doors refused to close. The power flickered. Something big was moving in the hallways. Commander Rylan ran toward the academy wing with 10 soldiers behind him. All of them carried shock lances and thick armor, but their hands shook. They could hear the sound now: heavy steps, claws dragging, metal grinding. Rylan whispered, "How did it escape? Who opened that cage?" But the beast was not using doors. It was tearing through walls to reach the surface. Inside the classroom, the floor vibrated. Aaron grabbed his desk tight as another strike hit somewhere close. Students ran toward the opposite side of the room, crying and shouting. Cordath stood slowly, towering over everyone, calm but alert. Aaron looked up at him. "Do you know what's happening?" Cordath nodded once. "Yes, something very dangerous is coming, something your people should never have captured." Before Aaron could ask anything else, the wall on the far side of the hallway outside cracked. Everyone heard the sound: deep, angry breathing. Something huge dragged its claws along the metal. The soldiers outside raised their weapons. Rylan shouted, "Hold your line, prepare for contact." The metal wall exploded inward. A shape moved through the smoke. It was bigger than a hover truck, with black scales, long arms, and teeth sharp enough to cut steel. Its eyes glowed like molten rock. The beast roared, shaking the hallway. Several soldiers dropped their weapons in fear. Students inside the classroom watched through the glass windows. Some hid under desks. Others cried openly. Aaron's heart raced, but he did not run. Something inside him whispered, "Watch." "Do not look away." The beast charged. Soldiers fired shock lances, but the energy bursts only angered the creature. It smashed one soldier against the wall with its tail and threw another across the hall. Rylan shouted orders, but nothing worked. The beast was unstoppable. Cordath stepped forward, pushing Aaron behind him protectively. "Stay down, do not move." But the glass wall exploded as the beast entered the classroom. Students screamed and scrambled to the corners. Chairs flew, desks broke, and papers filled the air like snow. The creature lifted its head slowly, watching everyone with the hunger of a starved predator. Its gaze fell on Aaron. Rylan fired again, shouting, "Get away from the boy." But the strike barely made the beast flinch. Aaron stood frozen, not in fear, in something else, something strange. The beast's eyes were wild, yet confused. As if it recognized something it did not understand. Cordath stepped between them, but the beast swung its massive claw, sending Cordath crashing into a wall. Aaron gasped. "Cordath." The beast leaned down until its face was inches from Aaron's. Its breath was hot and heavy, steaming in the cold air. Rylan's voice cracked. "Kid, don't move." But as the beast inhaled again, preparing to strike, Aaron did something no one expected. He spoke, stop. Just one word, small, soft, human, and the beast froze, its claw hovered in the air, its muscles locked. The anger in its eyes melted into something else, confusion, recognition, maybe even respect. Slowly, impossibly, the beast lowered itself onto the classroom floor like a trained animal obeying its master. The room went silent. Every student, every soldier, even Cordath stared in disbelief. Rylan whispered, How is that possible? Aaron looked at the beast, and the beast looked back, as if they shared a secret connection that no one else in the galaxy understood. And for the first time since its escape, the beast did not roar. It obeyed. No one moved for several long seconds. The room remained frozen in silence as the beast crouched on the floor beside Aaron, its glowing eyes locked on him. Soldiers stood in shock, unable to believe what they were seeing. Even Cordath, strong and proud, lay stunned against the wall, blinking slowly as he tried to understand how a human child had just stopped a creature that the entire base, with all its weapons, could not control. Aaron swallowed, his heart pounding in his chest. He did not feel brave, he did not feel powerful. He only felt a strange pull inside him, a sense that the beast was not an enemy at this moment, not to him, not right now. Commander Rylan finally broke the silence. He stepped forward carefully, his shock lance lowered but still ready. Kid, he said, his voice shaking slightly, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Aaron did not answer. He just kept his eyes on the beast. The creature breathed slowly now, its chest rising and falling like a giant machine cooling down. When Aaron took a small step back, the beast lowered its head, as if waiting for permission to move. Cordath pushed himself up and looked at Aaron with deep confusion. This should not be possible, he muttered. Humans do not control beasts like this, not this kind of beast. Aaron shook his head. I didn't control it. I just spoke. And it obeyed, Cordath replied softly. That is control, Aaron. Outside the classroom, more soldiers arrived, forming a wide circle around the broken wall. Their weapons glowed with blue light as they prepared to fire again, but Rylan stretched out his arm, stopping them. No one shoots, he ordered. Nobody fires unless I say so. One of the soldiers looked terrified. But sir, look at the size of it. It killed 4 men downstairs. Rylan's jaw tightened. And you saw what firing did. It only angered it. Right now the boy is the only one it listens to. The soldier swallowed hard but obeyed. Aaron slowly lifted his hand toward the beast. Can you understand me? He asked quietly. His voice trembled, but he stayed steady. The beast blinked and made a low rumbling noise, not a growl, something closer to a deep purr. Then it lowered its head even more until it almost touched the floor. Aaron touched its snout gently. The other students gasped again. Some had phones raised, filming, unable to believe they were witnessing something historical. Commander Rylan took a slow step closer. Aaron, listen carefully. We need to escort you and the creature to a safe zone. You cannot stay here. The beast tensed immediately at Rylan's voice. Aaron felt the shift in its body and turned quickly. It's okay, he whispered to it. He's not a threat. The beast stopped tensing but kept watching Rylan closely, like a guard dog protecting something precious. Rylan kept his distance. Aaron, it reacts to your emotions. Be careful what you feel. I'm trying, Aaron whispered. Cordath stepped forward again, rubbing his head where he hit the wall. There is something ancient here, he said quietly to Rylan. Something old in the beast, and something old in the boy. Rylan frowned. What do you mean? Cordath's eyes narrowed as he observed the beast. This species does not submit. They destroy everything in their path, yet here it sits, calm. As if a human voice touches something inside it that even it does not understand. Aaron overheard them and shook his head. I didn't mean to do anything. I wasn't trying to control it. That is what makes it stranger, Cordath replied. You did not try, and yet it listens. Before anyone could say more, another tremor shook the building. The floor quaked and dust fell again. Rylan looked sharply toward the hallway. That wasn't the beast, he said. Something else hit the base. A soldier checked his wrist monitor and paled. Sir, another breach warning from the skyhanger. Rylan cursed under his breath. This just keeps getting worse. Cordath stared at the ceiling. The beast was not trying to escape, he said softly. It was running from something. Aaron frowned. Running from what? Cordath shook his head slowly. Something stronger. The idea made everyone in the room go quiet again. Rylan forced himself to stay calm. We need to move. The base is under attack by something we don't understand, and the only thing keeping this beast calm is the boy, so the boy comes with us. Aaron hesitated. What about the other students? We're getting them out too, Rylan said. But first we secure you. The beast rumbled when Aaron took a step toward the soldiers. Immediately it rose to its full height, towering over everyone, protecting Aaron. Some soldiers panicked and aimed their weapons again. Rylan shouted, "Lower your weapons, do not provoke it." Aaron turned back to the beast. He placed a hand on its arm. "I just need to walk with them, come with me." The beast hesitated, then nodded slightly, a gesture that no one expected. It followed Aaron like a massive shadow. The hallway was ruined, metal bent and scorched. Lights flickered and smoke drifted through the air. Soldiers guided Aaron carefully, giving the beast as much space as possible. Every step made the floor shake. Cordath walked beside Aaron, glancing up at the creature. "You need to stay calm," he whispered. "If you panic, it panics." "I know," Aaron said softly. "I can feel that." "Feel," Cordath repeated. "What does that mean?" Aaron didn't know how to explain. It was like the beast's emotions touched his own. He could feel its fear, its confusion, its anger toward everything except him. It was not simple. It was not normal. When they reached the main corridor toward the evacuation lift, a loud explosion shook the ceiling above them. A fireball rolled down the hall, forcing soldiers to dive aside. Aaron stumbled, and the beast instantly grabbed him with one arm, lifting him from the ground to protect him. Rylan shouted, "Move! Everyone move!" Cordath's eyes widened at the smoke pouring down from above. "That is not random damage. Something is attacking from the sky, something searching, something hunting." Aaron tightened his grip on the beast's arm as it lowered him gently to the floor. "What is hunting?" Aaron whispered. Cordath stared up at the ceiling, fear visible in his reptilian eyes. The thing the beast was running from. The hallway lights flickered again as smoke drifted down from the broken ceiling. The sound of distant metal tearing echoed through the base, followed by a low, thunderous roar that did not belong to the beast standing beside Aaron. This roar was deeper, angrier, older. Aaron felt a cold pressure in his chest as if the air itself grew heavier. Even the beast reacted. Its huge body tensed, and its scales rippled. The creature stepped closer to Aaron, lowering its head protectively near the boy's shoulder. Commander Rylan stared upward. "Everyone stay alert, something else is inside the hangar." Soldiers gripped their weapons tighter. Sweat rolled down their faces. No one wanted to face something stronger than the beast. That idea alone was enough to weaken their legs. Cordath stepped forward, his voice low. "We must move before the second creature reaches this level." Rylan nodded. "Everyone to the lift now." They hurried down the corridor. The beast followed closely, its heavy steps shaking the metal floor. Aaron kept his hand on its arm, speaking softly to calm it. The creature's breathing slowed each time Aaron whispered. It trusted him more with every minute. Students from the other classrooms were already gathered near the evacuation lift, shaking in fear while instructors tried to keep them calm. When they saw the beast enter the hall, several screamed and tried to run, but soldiers quickly reassured them. "Don't move, it's under control." One soldier yelled. The beast lowered its head, not wanting to scare them, but its size alone was enough to make the students press themselves against the walls. Aaron stepped forward, trying to comfort them. "It won't hurt you, it's only protecting me." One young girl looked at Aaron with wide, teary eyes. "Why does it listen to you?" Aaron didn't know how to answer. I don't know." Before the girl could speak again, the entire base shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling. Lights burst, sending sparks through the hall. A second roar filled the air, louder and closer. Rylan shouted, "Get everyone inside the lift, move." Soldiers pushed students into the large platform. The lift was big enough to carry 50 people at once, built for emergencies. But as the crowd rushed in, fear spread quickly. Everyone could feel the danger closing in. Aaron moved toward the lift, the beast following immediately, but Cordath suddenly held out an arm to stop Rylan. "Listen," the alien warrior whispered. At first, no one heard anything. Then a faint scraping sound echoed from the far end of the hall, sharp claws dragging across metal. Each scrape grew louder, closer. Rylan gave the order instantly. "Seal the lift doors." The metal doors started sliding shut. Students hugged each other. Instructors held trembling hands. Soldiers prepared to fire if the second creature appeared. But the beast refused to enter. It stood outside the lift, blocking Aaron from stepping forward. Its chest rumbled and its claws dug into the floor. Aaron turned back. "Come inside, please." The beast did not move. It looked down the hallway again, its muscles tightening. It growled, a low, rising sound filled with fear and warning. Cordath spoke in a heavy tone. It will not enter. It thinks the other creature is coming this way. It wants to fight. It believes this is the only place you are safe. Aaron shook his head. It doesn't need to fight. It shouldn't die for me. Rylan stepped forward quickly. Kid, listen. We cannot stay out here. If that thing reaches us, we won't stand a chance. You need to come inside the lift. Aaron looked at the beast. The creature lowered itself slightly, as if forcing Aaron backward toward the lift. Its huge golden eyes stared into his, full of something Aaron had not expected, sacrifice. It wanted him to live. Another loud crash echoed from the hallway. Soldiers spun toward the sound. Several backed away, terrified. The metal walls shook violently. Rylan shouted, "We have seconds, get in the lift." Aaron stepped inside reluctantly. The beast stayed outside, still staring at him. Students huddled around Aaron, all of them watching the creature with amazement and fear. "Close the doors," Rylan ordered, but the beast suddenly slammed its hand against the door frame, stopping it from shutting. Gasps filled the lift. Soldiers raised their weapons again. "Hold fire," Rylan roared. Aaron rushed forward. "What are you doing? You need to come with us." The beast growled softly. It leaned down, pressing its forehead gently against Aaron's head. For a second, Aaron felt something warm, something like words he could not hear but somehow understood. Cordath spoke the truth that Aaron felt. "It is saying goodbye." Aaron's throat tightened. No, you don't have to fight alone." The beast gently pushed him back inside. Its voice rumbled deep in its chest, soft, almost like a whisper only Aaron could sense. Then the roar of the second creature shook the hallway again, closer than ever. Rylan stepped forward. For the first time, his voice was soft. "Kid, let it go. It's trying to save you." Aaron shook his head in anger and fear. "But why me? Why does it care?" Cordath answered, staring deeply at Aaron. "Because you spoke, and for the first time in its life, someone understood its fear." Aaron's eyes filled with tears. The beast released the door frame. The doors began closing again. Aaron reached out. "Please come with us." At the last second before the doors sealed shut, the beast did something no one expected. It bowed, bow of respect, bow of loyalty, bow of trust. Then the doors closed, locking Aaron inside the lift, separating him from the creature that just chose to protect him with its life. As the lift began to descend toward the lower safe zones, Aaron pressed his hands against the glass window, staring upward with tears in his eyes. Above them, the hallway shook again and again. The roar of the second creature grew louder. Rylan whispered, "God help that beast." Cordath looked down sadly. "No, it is not the beast we should worry about. It is the thing hunting it." Aaron stayed silent, heart breaking. Deep above them, two monstrous roars collided in the darkness of the hallway, and the war between the creatures began. The lift shook as it moved downward, carrying the students, soldiers, Cordath, and Aaron deeper into the base. Every vibration from above felt like a giant hammer hitting the world. The air inside the lift grew tense as people listened to the distant roars of two giant creatures fighting somewhere in the damaged halls. Aaron stayed near the glass panel, staring upward even though he could see nothing but darkness. His hands pressed against the cold surface as he imagined the beast standing alone against something larger and stronger. He wanted to believe it could survive. He wanted to believe he would see it again, but each loud crash and deep roar made that hope thinner. Cordath stepped closer. "Aaron, you must breathe. Your fear will not help the creature now." Aaron wiped his eyes quickly. It shouldn't be fighting alone. "No," Cordath agreed, "but it made a choice. It chose to protect you." Rylan watched Aaron quietly. He understood soldiers. He understood sacrifice. But watching a boy carry that weight was painful. One of the students whispered, "Do you think it can win?" No one answered. As the lift continued down, the lights flickered again. A sudden screech of metal came from above, like something huge scratching at the elevator shaft. Rylan grabbed his weapon. "Everyone stay low." The students crouched and covered their heads. The lift swayed violently as something struck the outer walls. Dust filled the air. Aaron felt his heart jump into his throat. Cordath looked up sharply. "That is not the beast. The sound is too sharp, too fast." Rylan swore under his breath. "The second creature is chasing us." The lift suddenly stopped. The emergency lights switched on, glowing red. A robotic voice announced calmly, "Power interruption, attempting to reconnect." Another impact hit the lift, shaking it so hard that soldiers fell to the floor. Aaron slid backward but grabbed a railing to steady himself. Rylan shouted, "Is everyone all right?" But before anyone could answer, the ceiling above the lift dented inward. A giant claw ripped through the metal like it was paper. Screams filled the small space. Aaron gasped as he stared at the claw. It was long, thin, and shaped like a hooked blade, nothing like the beast's heavy, thick claws. This thing was built to pierce, to slice, to kill quickly. Soldiers fired upward, the blue shock lance beams lighting the lift. Sparks rained down as the creature shrieked, a horrible, sharp sound that made everyone cover their ears. The claw pulled back for a moment, and Rylan used the opportunity. "We need to exit the lift before it cuts through." Cordeth slammed his hand against the emergency release panel. Sparks jumped, but the door refused to open. "Come on," Rylan shouted. "Override it." Another claw pierced the roof, making the metal scream. A piece of the ceiling fell, barely missing a student. Aaron stumbled backward. Cordeth grabbed him before he fell. The robotic voice repeated, "Manual release required." Cordeth growled in frustration. "The system is dead. We need to force it." Rylan nodded. "Soldiers, get these doors open." Two soldiers jammed their shock lances into the door cracks, heating and bending the metal. They pulled with all their strength. Slowly, the doors began to open just a few inches. Behind them, the metal roof split wider. A long, thin face with bone plates and razor teeth appeared. Its eyes were glowing white, empty, and furious. The creature screamed again. Students cried, soldiers fired upward. The creature's claws moved fast, slicing through weapons and metal. Rylan shouted, "Keep pulling those doors, move." The opening widened enough for one person to squeeze through. "Send the kids first." Rylan ordered. Instructors began guiding students through the narrow gap into a dark maintenance tunnel outside. Cordeth pushed the frightened children quickly but gently. Aaron stayed behind, staring upward. "It's coming for us." "It is coming for everyone," Cordeth said. "Go, Aaron." But Aaron shook his head. "Not without you." Rylan grabbed Aaron's shoulder. "Kid, now is not the time to be brave. Go." Another claw ripped through the ceiling. A soldier was grabbed and pulled upward before anyone could react. His scream ended suddenly. Aaron felt frozen in shock. Cordeth pushed him again. "Move." Aaron crawled through the opening. The maintenance tunnel was narrow, dark, and cold. Students ahead of him cried and shook. But Aaron turned back immediately, reaching through the gap toward the others still inside. The lift jerked again, swinging dangerously. The creature above was trying to tear it free. Cordeth shoved the last student through. Rylan fired upward, trying to slow the creature. "Cordeth!" Aaron cried, "Get out." The alien warrior pushed Rylan toward the opening. "You first. Humans cannot outrun this thing." Rylan hesitated. "I'm not leaving you." The metal floor bent beneath them. Sparks flew. The creature roared. Cordeth shoved Rylan hard through the opening. "Geo." Then Cordeth leaped through after him, landing in the tunnel. The lift shook violently, nearly torn from its cable. Aaron grabbed Cordeth's arm. "Is everyone out?" "Not everyone," Cordeth said quietly. Aaron looked through the gap. One soldier was still inside, trying to crawl out, but the creature's claw wrapped around him and dragged him upward into the darkness. The lift suddenly snapped. The entire cabin dropped. Aaron screamed. Cordeth grabbed him, pulling him deeper into the tunnel as the lift plummeted. A deafening crash echoed from the shaft. Silence followed. Only the sound of distant roars broke the darkness. Rylan took a deep... The maintenance tunnel was dim and narrow, lit only by a few flickering red emergency lights. Dust floated in the air, shaken loose by the crash of the lift far below. Everyone stood still for a moment, breathing hard, trying to understand that they were still alive. The students huddled together in the center of the tunnel while soldiers checked their remaining weapons. Aaron stayed close to Cordeth, his hands trembling. He kept looking back toward the broken opening where the lift had been, as if the beast might suddenly climb out of the darkness. Rylan took a deep breath. "Listen, everyone. We can't stay here. The secondary tunnels lead to a safe zone not far from this level. We need to move." A student whimpered. "But what if that creature survived the fall?" Rylan didn't answer immediately. He looked at Cordeth. Cordeth closed his eyes for a moment, listening. "If it survived, we would hear movement by now, but it will not be gone forever. Creatures like that hunt until their target is dead." Aaron felt the cold in his chest again. "It's still hunting the beast." "Yes," Cordeth whispered, "it will never stop." The idea hit Aaron like a punch. The beast had stayed behind for him, had bowed to him, had protected him. Now something far more dangerous was tracking it. Rylan motioned forward. "We move, stay close, stay quiet." The group began walking down the long tunnel. Metal pipes ran along the walls. The air was cold and smelled like oil and dust. The tunnel felt endless, stretching into darkness. Aaron kept thinking about the beast, imagining it fighting alone. Every time the creature had stood near him, he felt something like a connection, a pull he still couldn't explain. But now that connection felt thin, like a whisper far away. Cordeth walked beside him. "You are thinking about it." Aaron nodded. "I can still feel something, like it's hurt." Cordeth studied him carefully. "Humans have many strange gifts, but this is different. You share something old with that creature. Something deeper than language." Aaron swallowed hard. "If it dies, I'll know, woe-I." Cordeth did not answer. His silence was enough. Rylan checked his wristpad and pointed to a large service hatch ahead. "This leads to the lower engineering deck. Once we cross it, we'll reach the safe zone." Two soldiers opened the hatch. A cold draft swept through the tunnel. They entered a wide engineering chamber full of pipes, catwalks, and giant machinery. It was darker here, and the sounds of creaking metal echoed around them. Aaron stopped suddenly. A soft vibration moved through the floor. Cordeth turned to him. "What is it?" Aaron whispered, "Something is coming." Soldiers raised their weapons immediately. Everyone froze and waited. The vibration grew stronger, then softer, then stronger again. Rylan listened carefully, confusion filling his face. "That rhythm, that doesn't sound like the second creature." Cordeth's eyes widened. "No, it does not." Aaron's heart raced. He recognized it. Slow, heavy steps. A breathing pattern he had felt before, something large but familiar. Before anyone could speak, a loud crash echoed from the shadows behind a row of machinery. Students screamed and backed away. Soldiers aimed their weapons at the darkness. A huge shape appeared between the pipes. It limped. Rylan's eyes widened. "Is that?" Aaron stepped forward, his voice soft. "It's the beast." The giant creature emerged fully. Its scales were cracked and bleeding. Deep claw marks covered its chest and arms. One of its horns was broken, hanging by a thin piece of skin. It struggled to keep its balance. Every breath it took sounded painful. Aaron ran toward it without thinking. Rylan shouted, "Kid, wait." But the beast didn't attack. Instead, it lowered its massive body the moment Aaron reached it. The creature's eyes softened with exhaustion. Aaron placed both hands on its snout. "You're alive," he whispered. "You're alive." The beast rumbled weakly, leaning into his touch. Cordeth bowed his head in respect. It fought, and somehow it survived. Rylan stared at the deep wounds. "Barely." Aaron looked up at the creature. Did you beat it?" The beast growled softly, not proud, not victorious. More like a warning, Cordeth translated what he sensed. It did not defeat the hunter, it escaped, wounded. Aaron's breath caught. "Then the other creature is still alive." "More than alive," Cordeth muttered. "It is tracking them even now." Rylan cursed. "We need to move faster if that thing comes here." A low rumble shook the entire engineering chamber. Students huddled together again, terrified. Soldiers backed closer to the beast and Aaron, forming a defensive line. Aaron closed his eyes. The vibration in the floor changed. It was no longer the beast's steps. It was sharper, heavier, and much, much faster. He felt cold. "It's coming," Aaron whispered. "The second creature, it's coming here." Rylan shouted, "Everyone to the far exit now." The group rushed across the chamber, their steps echoing loudly against metal floors. Soldiers stayed behind to cover them. The beast tried to stand tall to protect Aaron, but its wounds made it stumble. Aaron turned to it. "Come with me, please, don't stay behind again." The beast tried to walk but staggered. Aaron grabbed its arm and kept pulling. "You don't have to fight alone," Aaron said. "Not this time." Cordeth rushed forward and helped steady the creature. "Come, together we move." Behind them, a massive shape dropped from the ceiling with a scream that made the floor shake. Pipes burst. Sparks exploded into the air. Students screamed and ran faster. The second creature stepped into the light. Its body was long and covered in bone armor plates. Its claws were razor-sharp, dripping with black liquid. Its glowing white eyes locked on the beast immediately. It didn't care about the humans. It didn't care about the soldiers. It came for one target, the beast. Aaron felt the terror from both creatures now, one hunting, one wounded. But the beast stood tall again, placing itself between Aaron and danger, even though its body trembled. Rylan shouted, "Soldiers, take firing positions." Weapons hummed as soldiers prepared to fire, but Cordeth raised a hand. "Your weapons will not stop it, they will only slow it, and slowing it will cost lives." Aaron looked at the beast, then at the hunter. His voice shook. "There has to be another way." Cordeth looked at him with serious eyes. "There is only one thing the hunter wants, and the beast will die protecting you if it must." Aaron stepped forward. Then I won't let it fight alone. Everyone gasped. The beast growled loudly and blocked Aaron with its arm, refusing to let him pass. The hunter screeched again, ready to attack. Rylan yelled, "Aaron, stop." But Aaron looked straight into the eyes of the wounded beast. "You stood for me," Aaron whispered. "Now I stand for you." The hunter crouched low. The beast roared in pain but positioned itself for battle. And the three forces, human courage, wounded strength, and unstoppable fury, faced each other in the center of the engineering chamber. As the final conflict began to form, if you'd like part 6, the ending, I will write the FI. The engineering chamber became silent for a brief moment, as if the whole world held its breath. The wounded beast stood tall despite its pain, protecting Aaron with its huge body. The hunter creature lowered itself, claws scraping the floor, ready to strike. The soldiers formed a shaky line behind Aaron and the beast, trying to hold their courage. Aaron stared at the hunter's glowing white eyes, cold, empty. Made for one purpose, to destroy the beast. The boy felt fear gripping him, but something inside him pushed that fear down. He stepped forward again. Rylan shouted, "Aaron, get back, you can't face that thing." Aaron didn't listen. He took a single slow step, placing his small hand on the beast's wounded arm. The beast growled softly but leaned closer, accepting the touch. The hunter screeched again, louder this time, as if mocking the boy's bravery. Soldiers raised their weapons, ready to fire, but Cordath's voice boomed through the chamber. "Do not shoot, let Aaron speak." Everyone looked at the young human. His breath trembled, but his eyes stayed locked on the hunter. Something old and instinctive moved through him, the same strange power that had stopped the beast the first time. Aaron did not understand it, but he trusted it. He raised his voice. "Stop." The word echoed through the room. The beast obeyed immediately, freezing in place even though its body shook with pain. The hunter halted too, but only for a second. It snarled, confused, but the command had touched something in it, something buried deep. Aaron stepped closer. "Stop fighting, you don't have to do this." The hunter screamed in anger and lunged forward, breaking free from the moment of control. Soldiers fired their shock lances, but the blasts barely slowed the creature. The beast roared loudly, stepped in front of Aaron, and took the full hit of the hunter's charge. The two creatures collided with a crash that shook the entire chamber. The beast pushed the hunter back with all its strength, claws tearing into bone plates. But the beast was already wounded, too wounded. The hunter slashed across its side. Blood sprayed across the floor. Aaron screamed, "No." The beast stumbled, barely able to stand. The hunter leaped again, ready to deliver the killing blow. Aaron ran forward without thinking. Cordath grabbed him but missed by inches. The boy stood directly between the two titans. The hunter froze for a heartbeat, surprised. The beast tried to move Aaron back with its arm, but it was too slow. Aaron yelled with all the strength inside him. "Enough." The word hit the air like a shockwave. The beast stopped. The hunter stopped. Even the machinery seemed to go silent. Aaron stepped closer to the hunter, tears in his eyes. "Why are you doing this? Why do you want to kill it?" The hunter hissed, confused but not attacking. Cordath suddenly understood. It does not think, it follows old commands, commands written into its body. It was made long ago to hunt the beast species. Aaron shook his head. No one should decide that, no one should force you to fight. The hunter stared at him, white eyes flickering. The command inside it fought against the strange pull of Aaron's voice. Aaron placed his hand on the beast's snout. "It protects me, and I protect it." The beast lowered its head weakly. Aaron then turned to the hunter. He stepped closer. Close enough to feel its hot breath. "You don't have to obey that old order anymore." The hunter leaned in, claws shaking. It was trying to resist something inside itself, a war between instinct and what Aaron's voice forced it to feel. Aaron whispered one more word, soft but full of meaning. "Peace." Something broke inside the hunter. Its body trembled. Its glowing white eyes flickered, then dimmed slightly. For the first time, it stepped back. The chamber went silent. Rylan whispered, "He stopped it. He actually stopped it." Cordath watched with awe. The boy's voice reaches places no weapon can. He is something rare among humans, something ancient. Aaron stood still, breathing hard. The hunter lowered its head slowly, not in attack, but in surrender. The beast collapsed behind Aaron, too weak to stand. Aaron rushed to its side and knelt beside its massive head. The creature's breathing was shallow and